Good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's webinar on how to prepare commercial roof estimates. My name is Scott Ferguson. I'm a regional sales manager here at the Estimated Edge. Before we begin, I do want to go over some housekeeping items. All attendees are muted, but if you have a question, you can input it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer it at the end of the webinar. Since we have both users of the Edge and non-users of the Edge on this call, I wanted to give a brief background on the Estimated Edge. We are a 38-year-old company based in South Florida. All we do is estimating software. We started out producing commercial roofing software, but expanded to other trades such as drywall, fireproofing, and concrete, to name a few. Over the years, we've been asked to branch out and develop other types of software for the construction industry, but we've not done so and decided to be strictly the best at the estimating software in the construction industry. As you see, both my direct phone number and email are listed at the bottom of the slide. So if you have additional questions regarding today's webinar or in the Edge, in general, please feel free to contact me. Please take a second to write down my number and email. Here are some of the key points we're going to be covering today. First, we're going to be discussing how the Edge combines both the takeoff and estimate into one software platform, so you do not have to jump around and use multiple systems to complete both of these functions. I will show you how the Edge comes with a pre-built database with most of the major manufacturer products already built into the Edge. Just pick and choose what manufacturer you want and what type of roof system you want to do, and you can complete it without having to build out assemblies and items. Additionally, I'll show you how the Edge calculates both material and labor costs, which will give you accurate costs and numbers for these two key areas of the estimate. The fourth area we'll be covering is preparing and being able to present your customers the estimates directly in the Edge. The Edge will not only provide you with several pre-built reports, but also ability to design your own reports and combine those with the proposal that is also included in the Edge and can be customized in the Edge specifically for your company. The fifth item you'll cover is streamlining your entire estimating process. So you're not only producing estimates faster, but with increased accuracy as well, thereby allowing you to win more projects. As I mentioned, the Edge combines both the estimate and takeoff into one platform, but while we are a 30-year-old company, we are constantly working to make the Edge a more efficient system than it already is. So the Edge software that you have today is largely designed by our customers, as many of the features and functions you see in the Edge come directly from our customers. The Estimating Edge falls under our parent company, Foundation Software. There are several other software platforms that are under the Foundation umbrella. As you can see, we offer time tracking, accounting, and safety software as well. If you're interested in learning more about any of these software platforms, please get with me after the call. And now I want to jump into the Edge and show you how the Edge completes the estimate in the software. What you're seeing here is what you see when you log into the Edge with the user ID and password. The first thing I want to mention is it's a cloud-based system. So you can log into it anywhere, as long as you've entered accessibility. So you don't have to worry about storage, security. All this is managed by Azure for us. And the Edge is a very customizable system. So if you want it set up in a certain way, I have it set up where you just see my bids and my bids only. If you want to change that, you can have recent bids, checked out bids, however you want. Now to start that is simply hit this plus button in the upper right-hand corner here. When I do that, this dialog box is going to pop open. So if I start to type into it, you'll notice that these cookies are no longer grayed out. So the Edge can be simple or it can be complex, depends on how you want to do things. I'm going to keep things pretty simple today. But if I want to have a wealth of information on a job, for example, I can hit this miscellaneous button. And I can add in builder, GC, design my own proposal, a bunch of information put in there, which is great to have down the road. But you don't have to enter any of that to start the bid. You just simply have to name it and hit add images. Now, the Edge is designed to work on multiple monitors, so I can't show you this in a webinar atmosphere, but it's going to open on my other screen. I'm going to bring in a drawing. I can bring in any type of JPEG, PDF, satellite image, whatever it is, directly into the Edge itself. So I'm going to bring in one drawing. I can bring as many as I want, 1, 10, 20. There's no limitation to the number of drawings you can pull into the Edge itself. In this case, I'm going to bring in one, add the page into it. And when I do that, it's going to take me away from my bid tree where I named the bid into my scenarios, which I've simply named a webinar. Now, what scenarios is used for, I can have any type of number of scenarios I want. If I wanted to do, say, compare an EPDM to a TPO roof, I can do that here. In this case, I'm going to keep it top level and have one scenario for this demonstration and simply move forward with my arrow button here. That's how you navigate in the Edge. It takes me to my sections, which is a subset of my scenarios. Again, continuing the theme, if I want to have 10 sections, 20 sections, I can do that by simply hitting this plus button here and have multiple sections. So And what it's used for, let's say you're doing an apartment complex, you have building A, B, C, D. I can separate each one of those buildings out from a cost perspective, but still tie it back to my overall job, which is called webinar. Again, I'm going to keep it top level and have one section. Move forward again to my pages. To reiterate, this is just as many pages I want to bring in, I can bring in right here. I just brought in one. This is called the North Lake Roof Plan. Then I'll move forward again to my conditions. If I hit this plus button here, it's important to note that this database that you're seeing right here is pre-built. So as I mentioned at the outset, all these groups and manufacturers' products are already built into it. We have several that are already pre-built, as you can see right here. And we'll help you design your own as well during training as well. So it's customized for you. So we have hundreds of customers across the US and Canada. Every single database is specific to their business. So if I wanted to bring in, say, a single ply group, I have that as well. A bunch of different roofing ones. All this is pre-built for you. We just customize it from there during training and implementation. So I'm going to pull in some of these conditions. I can bring in all of them or just a few. If I forgot some, I can always go back and add additional ones if I choose to. I'm going to bring in a few here. Bring in these 6. I'm going to add selected. I'm going to add it to my page, which is the drawing that I brought in. So inside of each one of these individual conditions is what we call condition properties, really the guts of each individual product, where we tell the system what we want it to do. So if I double click on this TPO, for example, it's already defaulted. Here's your roll width, here's your length. I can change it to whatever I need to. Anytime I see a blue box here, it's a pick list. It's really a database and a database specific to that product. So I click on this, TPO. All this is quite expansive. As I mentioned, this is all pre-built. On occasion, we're missing something that's pretty rare. If so, we just add it into your database during training and implementation. Again, it's customized for you. I can search alphabetically if I choose to, and pick whatever product I want. I can move across here to the top. Here's the installation. Here's the ISO. Click into that. Same thing. It's quite expansive. That's really the power of the Edge, in my opinion. There's a lot of cool things about this system, but having it pre-built is probably the biggest advantage you have. So if I can move across, wouldn't need buttons. If I was going to adhere to this system, I turn it on and take out the fasteners. So the properties really make the changes to each individual product. If I double click into the wall flashing, for example, here's your sheet metal length. If I want to come in here and turn it on, here's all the items associated with it, from coping caps, drip edge, whatever it is. It's all pre-built for you. Same thing if I move into any of these counts, such as walk roof drains or VTRs, I can jump in here and change it to whatever I need it to. But let's say I'm good to go with these conditions and the properties associated with it. If I come over here to this little terminal here, it's my computer screen. This is my takeoff screen. Remember when I said this combines the takeoff and the estimate into one platform? So I'm going to double click on that and jump into my takeoff. Here's a drawing that I brought in. The Edge will prompt you when you have to do something. In this case, I have to set a scale. So I can do that one of two ways. I can trust what was sent over by the architect. In this case, it's 1/8 of an inch, or I can measure it myself if I have a node dimension, which is what we recommend. If I hit the scale here, hit calculate, say it's 30 feet, I now have a scale. Or I can use the drop-down menu. Hit OK. Then move over here, select a product, and just simply measure the outside of it, the perimeter of this TPO. It's going to give you a color and a math associated with it. If you don't like it, you can simply turn that off in the upper right-hand corner under measurement. Again, very customizable system, how you want it set up. What you can't see when I'm done doing this, because I can only show you one screen at a time, is that all the items for this TPO have now been brought over. That's why we suggest having it on multiple monitors so you can see the progress. But here's your square foot and linear feet in the lower right-hand corner. They're on some wall flashing. If you have multiple heights of wall flashing, just simply copy and paste it. There's no limitation to that as well. There's a lot of bells and whistles on this takeoff screen. You can point and do save annotations, text, highlight. I'll show you a couple of those here in a minute. What's important is the data that I give you here. So I want to show you what the Edge produces for you, which is really the main power of it. Here on some curbs. I'm going to zoom in here with my mouse, measure a curb. If you've ever seen a skylight, let's say on a Walmart or Home Depot, there's a million of them. I can actually replicate it, just drag and drop it. Come over here to walkway pads. Throw in some of those. Important to note that while we're a 38-year-old company, we're not a static program. And what that means is each quarter we come out with a new version of the Edge with new features and functions. So it's up to you to actually download the newest version, but there are no additional charges for that. So we're trying to make it a more efficient as best we can as technology improves. And a lot of those features and functions that are on there don't come from us, they come from our customers. We know estimating, but obviously not as well as you guys. Roof terrain, I throw in some counts as well. And VTRs, I don't think there are any, but we'll just put some in there so we get some more data. Like I said, you can highlight, you can actually do text directly in here. And you can point as well, arrow. But let's say I'm good to go with this takeoff screen. I'm going to minimize it and go back into my main edge. Now if I go back to the condition page, here's my square foot, linear foot, and count for each one. But if I come over here to my material pricing screen, this dollar sign, and click on it, here's everything for that roof based on the takeoff I just quickly did. Here's all the items that you need based on the parameters that you set up in the conditions and condition properties. Now the Edge will prompt you when there's an issue. This is red. I'm not sure why this flashing's red. There is no pricing in this database. So if I come over here, just put in price, it should turn green, turn off this warranty. And why I just change this flashing here, I can simply mark it if I choose to, because I've just changed it for this job and come over here, hit send to database, hit price, hit OK, and boom, it's changed for future jobs. So it's very simple to update things in the database of the Edge. Again, this is all customizable. You can add in columns, take them out, move them around. During our training period of 4 days, whether you do it virtually or in person, we'll set this up exactly the way you want it. You can also round up in the Edge. If I click on this, mark all these items, come over here, hit auto round, it'll auto round them up automatically. And you have the ability to send this out to Excel as well. One cool thing we added in the Edge a couple of years ago is called vendor quote. So if I select this TPO and this ISO here, come over here to this little icon called vendor quote and select it. It's going to jump me out to this portal here. So I've got suppliers set up here. They're fictitious, obviously. We'd help you set this up during training and implementation, whoever you order from, ABC Spec, whoever. So let's say I want to get a price update for those 2 items from Scott's Equipment. Come over here and do an expiration on it. Here's the 2 items in question and the quantity, and hit send. Confirm it. It's going to send out an email to my contact at Scott's Equipment requesting a price update for those 2 items. So if I go back into my inbox, pull that up, let's drag it over so you can see it. This is what you see. Scott from Dave Rukins requested a vendor quote of the following items below. So they select this little link right here, click on it. It's going to jump me out to this other one. I'm going to confirm my email. Now I'm the supplier. I'm going to select an expiration, throw in some new fictitious pricing. They can do notes if they choose to, like something almost out of stock or something to that effect, and hit submit prices. If I go back into my Edge, anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes, I'm going to get a little hand that'll pop up right about here. And if I select it and hit apply, it's going to change that pricing automatically right here. And as I just demonstrated, if I mark it, come over here, I can then change it for future jobs by hitting send to database and price. This is what you see in the inbox. Here, you show an example of that. Here it is right here. You submitted quote Scott Ferguson, Dave Rukins included the items below. Now you can do it the old-fashioned way. We have an Excel button here if you want to send that out and do it manually. But this just streamlines the process because we understand how often your pricing changes and fluctuates. But this, again, is just the pricing screen, material pricing screen. We do have to have a screen that does the labor. That's our clock right here. So if I click on the labor screen, now the labor can be quite expansive. It depends how you want to do it. You can keep it simple and do it by the square, or you can do it on down to the minute. No matter how you want to do the labor, it can be calculated in the Edge. And the way the Edge calculates labor, it's estimated unit per hour. So what they're saying here is one guy can do 75 linear feet of the seat weld seams in an hour. Let's say he's super fast and can do 85. And change it, it's going to change the math all the way across the board based on the columns you have set up. So you can see here your production's increasing. Just like the material screen now, if I want to mark it, come over here, hit send to database. I can hit production rate and hit OK, and boom, it's changed for future jobs. Just as simple to update your database in the labor screen as it is in the material screen. We do have to have a screen that combines both the material and labor. That is our recap screen where you also do your markups. If I select on that, it's my check mark here. I can expand it out if I choose to. Here it is, the tax right here is 7%. If I wanted to change that or add a different tax, there's no limitation to the number you can. So if I wanted to do another tax in here, I can do that right here and hit add it in at 4%, save it. It's going to add that in and change the math all the way down across the board for it to you as well. Same thing with burden. You can add as many as you want to if you choose to. Same thing with your overhead as well. And your profit's done as a percentage. It's set up that way mainly because most people choose to do it that way. But if I want to get granular and change it sell per hour, crew day, mandate, I can do that right here. Another new feature in the Edge 2 we added a couple years ago, the request of our customers, the ability to play around with the contract amount. As you can see, it's 205 and change here. If I come over here and say I have to do this job for, say, flat 200, what does that do to the overall profitability? Change it from 25 down to 21 and change, so you can play around with it. Here's your total hours, mandates, and total squares, and the total job amount. And we do have a number of reports that are pre-built into the Edge already for you. So if I jump into my reports icon here, click on it. Here's your drawing report based on the takeoff I just did. I can open that one up if I choose to. It's open in my other screen. Let me drag it over. Here it is. This can be sent out to Excel, PDF, or Word. And here's your square foot, linear foot, and count legend for you. Same thing with the recap screen. I can run that report. And they'll call this, of course, will be your information here. Now, as I said, these are all pre-built reports, but you have your ability to design your own reports as well. Most people that start on the Edge for the first few months use these stocking reports that we already pre-built in here, but you can design your own reports. We can help you customize your reports for you as well. Another feature I want to show you too is what we call our administration portal. See this little gear shift up here in the upper right-hand corner? If I click on that, it'll jump me out to this portal. Now, this is kind of cool. Now, of course, I access this through my Edge license, but if you're at lunch or sitting in traffic, you can pull it up on your smartphone so you get a snapshot of exactly what's going on with your business. So if I select, say, the dashboard, for example, I can see exactly what's going on with all my bids. I can jump into any one of these different reports, any different bid. All these reports are accessible right here, all cloud reporting. I can jump in any one of these reports and see exactly what's going on with the jobs. This is also where you control all of your information. My administrative portal here, like for roles manager, for example, let's say you're growing and hire a new person, a junior estimator. I come in here and control and edit exactly what he or she can do, which is extremely important because you need to control all of your data in your database. So you can set up permission roles right here for you and control all of your data directly from the portal. Also new to the Edge is the ability to design proposals. It's right here. So if I select this proposal generator, we instituted this last year, I can actually generate a proposal in a Word document. Based on we offer 145 different fields you can choose from, and we help you design this report, this proposal as well for you. And there's an example of it right here. It's very simple. It's one page, but you can take this proposal and combine it with all the reports that we have. So it's another tool in your toolbox really for you if you choose to use it, which has been really well receptive. But if I go back in, I can also control my licenses here. If you have multiple licenses of the Edge, I can select the little license manager here. I can see exactly what's going on. You can set up as free floating, or you can assign them to certain individuals if you choose to. But you control all of your information directly from the portal itself. But if I go back into my Edge, I do want to show you something else here. You have the ability to do standing seam, get a complete cutout list in the Edge, as well as tapered insulation, get the fasteners and where they go and the size. If I go back into my sections, for example, select it, come over here, hit this little plus button, I'm going to add a new section. There's no limitation to the number of sections I can do. So I'm going to simply call it standing seam, hit save. Now I have a new section right here coming to manage my images. I'm going to add a new image to this page. Again, this is open in my other screen. I've been in offices where I have the Edge on like 4 monitors. I think 2 is optimal. Bring in a new drawing. Add it to my page. just like I did with the TPO. It's the same navigation over and over. That's why it's pretty easy to learn the edge. If I move forward again with my arrow button to my pages, is what I brought in. Again, move forward to my database, my conditions. Come in here. Now, this is an optional piece of the edge. It does not come with the main license, but most people choose to get it. It's a very powerful tool. I'll find it here. Here's my roofing modules. Here's my standing seam panel layout. I'm going to add this in, add it to my page. Same thing as the TPO. If I double click into here, it goes in my condition properties. It's defaulted to barrage, but if you want to change it, just simply hit the pick list and let all those come up right there. And again, to reiterate, if we're missing something, we can load it into your database during training and implementation. This is where you make your changes. Here's your width. Here's your stretch out. Move across here. I can change, add in whatever I need to do based on the job that I'm doing. If I'm good to go with the properties, go back into my takeoff. Here is my new drawing. Set a scale, just like I did before. Hit OK. And now I simply measure each area of the roof. And then I do the high-low, which is the water flow, coming off the roof. Come back here, measure this section. Pretty simple to do. It's the same thing over and over. Measure this last section. Then I get out of here. Now I'm done with the drawing. Go back into my drawing or reports. I do have a new report here, standing seam report. So I'm going to run this. Here's my first report. Make that a little larger so you can see it. Labeling each panel. The next one is even cooler, gives you a little bit more information. Here it is right here. Here's your quantity, labeling each panel and the length of each one, complete cutout. So it's a pretty slick little system, a lot of value to it if you do a lot of standing seam. And the same thing with the tapered insulation. I know most of you probably send that out to your manufacturer or supplier to do. You have to wait a time to get it back. And generally it's inflated with their waste. You can control all that in the edge as well. You get another optional feature. I do want to show you one other thing that's new here. As you can see, I have two sections here. So if I go to my material screen here, my $sign, I'm getting a snapshot of both of those sections. If I click into that, it's going to give me all of it combined. But if I go back to my sections and turn off, say, the standing seam, when I go into my material labor or recap, it's only getting me information based on that section. So another little tool that we've added into the edge recently. I think that's one of the most important things about the edge, is why we're almost 4 decades old. We're constantly working to make it a better system than it is by improving it at all times. One thing too, we do have a full integration with Beacon. So if you order your product from Beacon, you actually can just do that directly in the edge itself. So that's really the high level view of the edge. I can show you one other thing I want to show you as far as what little trick of the edge, which is kind of neat. We'll go back into this one, into my TPO. Back into my conditions. If I go into my wall flashing here, let's say you break your own metal. I'm going to go to my sheet metal length here. I'm going to do some drip edge. I'm in here, drip edge, add that in, add a metal type, 24, I guess. I know this is 4 and 10. Hit OK, but if I go back into my flashing here and go into my items, click on my items, and scroll down, it's going to give me the sheets associated with it actually as well, so which is kind of a nice little feature. That really is the oversight of it as best you can see. As far as you want a more in-depth demonstration or additional questions, please reach out to me. We can certainly set that up. At this point, I'm going to go over and see if there's any questions. I do have one question here. It's asking if you can use a license for multiple people. The answer to that is yes. You can have as a million different people on the edge. You just can't be on the same license at the same time. But think of it like a library book, since it's cloud based, gives you a lot of flexibility. In case you say you don't need it to use it anymore, you could simply log out of it, and then somebody else can log back into it. But if you have a situation where you have multiple people that estimate on a daily basis, then I would recommend actually getting multiple licenses. But I appreciate your time today. Again, you have my contact information. If you need to, just reach out to me via email or phone. Happy to set up another demonstration or answer any questions you have about the Edge or in general. So thank you so much for your time today. Have a good rest of your week.